Washington, Arizona. Here's one. I wish it was a little higher, but I think Arizona could win that game. San Jose, Nashville. That's a tough one too. That one usually, uh, Nashville does fairly well against San Jose, and I actually want to look this up because the line was only 130, and I didn't have time to do it before the show, but I knew I wasn't going to take the client play on it, but I did want to talk about you guys on here. So we'll look at San Jose on the road, right, in Nashville. And for you guys who don't believe in these things where certain teams just don't beat certain teams, keep believing it, but I'll just keep making all of us money doing it. So you look at San Jose against Nashville, they've only won 6 in a row. Nashville has against San Jose in Nashville. Last loss was back in 2011. The goal production they've put up against San Jose has been pretty impressive, actually. 6 goals, 5 goals, 3 goals, 3 goals, 6 goals, 1 goal. So if you played Nashville's team total over in all those games, you've done pretty well. So you look back, you look at the minus 130. I'm guessing that the 2.5 is probably pretty similar to the 130, maybe on the over. You take a look at Nashville's goal productions as of late, not too bad. Not to mention the over in the last 10 games overall for Nashville, 7-0 and 3 pushes. So goal scoring up on that end. Defense hasn't been playing great. The number's 5.5. It was 5, I'd say, game total over. The problem is, San Jose has really struggled to score, and actually, I maybe like the Nashville money line more. I think the Nashville money line might be a better play than the Nashville team total over, but I think it's pretty correlated. I think Nashville should get to 3. I'm guessing. Again, it's not a client play, but I do like it. John Jensen, thank you. Flyers 0-0 after 1. Pens 1-0 after 1. Beautiful. Pens, Pittsburgh has, if you have noticed, every Saturday afternoon seems like they get the early game. They get that early start for whatever reason. I have no idea. But they've been doing pretty well in this spot. It was almost a client play for us today. But either way, so that's that. Let's go over to the Final Four. Cat's out of the bag, I guess. I mean, it's pretty obvious what's going on here, where they're playing, and what we're looking at today. We got 2 client plays. They're both on the unders over here. So we got a pretty good couple games here. I think they're going to be closer than some people might think. Usually it's just how it goes. When you think it's going to be a blowout, it's close. You look at Villanova, Oklahoma. I'm not even going to talk about that early game. Early in the season when they meet in Oklahoma, blew them out. Villanova shot like 6% from 3, whatever. Total down to 144 in this one. You look at Oklahoma, they rely a lot on the 3, almost as so doesn't Syracuse, but Oklahoma relies a lot on the 3. You look at Villanova, also can get out there and shoot the 3. Why is that significant? Well, obviously, you look at and where they're playing, NRG Stadium. One of the biggest venues they've had in a while. The sight lines are terrible. It seats a ton of people, obviously. And notoriously, teams have struggled to shoot here. And it's been recent, right? Seating capacity of 72,000, total arena, 2 million square feet in the arena. It's a spacious place. All 3 games last year in the NCAA tournament South Regional Finals went under the total by a combined 43.5 points. They weren't even close. And who can forget 2011's title game that saw UConn and Butler combined 10 for 44 shooting from 3 and just 94 points in that game. Add it all up, past 6 games in NRG Stadium have gone under the total by an average of 17 points. The only time a game's gone over there was in 2011 in the Final Four, Butler against VCU. How much did it go over by? A half a point, right? So, very dangerous if you think the teams are going to shoot. You look at teams that rely on outside shooting, like Oklahoma, right? Even Villanova. Villanova can bang it, though. Syracuse, a lot of their offensive production comes from the three-point line, if you don't know. North Carolina, they bang you down in the paint. Sight line doesn't matter too much in the paint. However, to think Page might go off, because we all know that North Carolina team, when they can work that inside-out game and they're hitting their outside shots, they're basically impossible to beat. If they're not hitting them, the points in the paint are not going to come as easy against that Syracuse team. I like both unders. We got burnt twice in the last two games taking the under in these North Carolina games. But I'm going back to the well. I don't, and there's different reasons behind it last time. Last year's team shot 39% of the field, 26.7 from three in the Houston Regional. When the over-unders were posted for the Villanova matchup, opened at 149.5. Most books, maybe even 150, and some of the offshore ones like Pinnacle, it's been down to 145. The North Carolina Syracuse opened at 147.5, also down 145. It's the cat's out of the bag. I've heard plenty of people on TV and elsewhere talk about betting the unders. But if you waited until now, obviously you missed the best number. Whatever. I don't care. All right. Should I have maybe sent them out a long time ago? Sure. I guess so. But note, for the title game, if both games do stay under on Saturday, if one's under and the other should have stayed under, but it ends up going over due to a bunch of bullshit at the end, expect to see the same thing happen on the totals on the Monday game. So you're going to want to get on it early. Now, lines makers know that the under's going to be hammered, so this line's going to be set a few points lower than it should be initially. So if you don't get on it early, you're talking about maybe even getting 6 or 7 point bad adjustment towards the under. And, all that matters is that stupid bullshit at the end that could really fuck you over. So we shall see. But I like the unders in both of them. I think that's the way to roll. Over in the NHL, again, a couple things to talk about. That Florida under 5.5. Talk about that Detroit under 5.5. Those are some going on there today. Nothing for nothing. I went 3-0 by myself in Arena last night. I did a 3-team parlay with all the favorites. They all cashed easily. Got another one today. I'm going to hop on the favorite. No handicapping involved. That was nothing. I didn't give it out or nothing. I didn't tell anybody about it. Just saying. Early, usually, and I've looked back, the one thing I did look back, early season Arena, favorites tend to cover, especially road favorites. Road favorites were 3-0 yesterday. So something to think about, tossing in or whatever. Back to baseball, I basically gave out the two plays for tomorrow. I love Wainwright. I will never bet against Wainwright. I do like Kansas City going up against Harvey. I think Harvey struggled this spring to get people out. And, the last team you're going to be striking out is this Kansas City team. It's going to be cold. I don't know how much he's going to like that, but we shall see. In the other game, Tampa Bay-Toronto, up until mid-season of last year, Toronto has always struggled down in Tampa Bay to score runs. You get Chris Archer on the hill going against Stroman. I love the under. It's a crazy bet taking Toronto under 7 in any game, any venue. I get it. So it's a tough proposition. But the fact that it's sitting at 7 tells you a lot. That's probably going to be a free play I send out, is that Toronto under. It's always a spot I like, regardless. It's just on my list when Toronto goes to Tampa Bay. Not only do they usually lose, but the game usually stays under. So that's something to think about. Bullpen guys, I don't know. My fucking head's spinning here. What else? There was some other questions out there that I didn't get to. What were they? Trying to think. What exactly were... I don't know. I can't think now. All right, we'll go into the relief pitchers while I try to think. I don't want to just sit there at dead air. Where to start? Wade Davis in Kansas City, obviously. I think he'll get a lot of action. Kimbrel in Boston. Chapman I'd stay away from. I don't think he's going to get enough innings to really matter on the situation. Zach Britton, I think he'll get a lot of action. I don't know how many save opportunities he's going to get just to being on that team, but he always puts up pretty good Rod, pretty good numbers, I should say. I'm going to surprise you guys with Francisco Rodriguez with Detroit. I think he has a good year there, to be honest with you. I do. You got to go with the sidearmer Ziegler down in Arizona. Interesting guy there. Stay away from Houston Street. I'll tell you guys to stay away from. What's his name for Pittsburgh? McCullen there. Trevor Rosenthal will be good for St. Louis. Cody Allen. Cody Allen's a top 5 play. Jansen for the Dodgers. I don't love him. I really don't. But top 5, not in any particular order. Wade Davis, Krimble, Rosenthal, Cody Allen. I don't like Hector Rondon. Not a fan of him. I think Francisco Rodriguez from Detroit will be good, and Ziegler from Arizona. I think that's where you go with that. Stay away from Houston Street, like I said. Surprise. Depend what Guzman. I don't want to give you the Guzman one. Some of them are still bouncing between starter and relief pitcher, but Vincent Velasquez for Philly, if he's a starter, obviously he's a starter, but if he's in the bullpen, he's going to have a quietly good year, I believe, to be honest with you. But yeah, that's where I'm at with that. What else? What else could we talk about? Just trying to see some other projections here. Yeah. I guess Melanson, I don't love Melanson. Ken Giles for Houston, not a great fan of that either, but we shall see. Like I said, I think Francisco Rodriguez will surprise some people, and I think the kid from Philadelphia might also surprise some people. Stay away from that Minnesota bullpen. Can someone tell me if Dormant scored a goal in the first half? For the love of God, I hope they did. What a terrible mismatch that was. The game was on TV. I should have had it on during this, but I didn't. But someone let me know that. But either way, that's that. Flyers just scored. That's good. Yeah, I'm on the Flyers in Pittsburgh. I think the cat's out of the bag there. So anyway, I think that covers it. Unless if Ira asks, do you like Cleveland to win that series? I do. I believe I talked about my World Series pick with Texas so far. Probably against the Cubs. The more I'm starting to like Washington if they can get their attitude straight. I think the pitching's there. I think the Mets are going to have some struggles. A lot of sophomore slumps. I think you guys are going to be disappointed with Cespedes, but we shall see. NL West, I'll give to San Fran. NL Central, I'll give to the Cubs. NL East, I'll give to the Nationals. What am I forgetting? Dormant didn't score in the first half. They're losing 2-1. Jesus. So that's that. AL East, we're going to go with Toronto. AL Central. AL Central is a tough one, but I like Cleveland. AL West, I like Texas. So there you go. But Donnie, I know you're a Mets fan. Listen, if they make the playoffs, if they get their shit together, if you remember last year how bad it was for them to score runs earlier in the season, but if they get it together, they'll be fine. They make the playoffs, they have a better shot than anybody to win. Just let's hope that those trends continue that we were hammering with that Mets team at home, if you remember that one. Let's hope, don't say it, don't type it. I'm just saying, let's hope that trend continues as well, because we were making some good money with that one. So that's it. So everything's in line. Always, as usual, guys, we're going to take it really slow. No round robins in April. And we'll have a show about how we're going to bet that as it comes up. But take it slow in April. It's a tough month to handicap. There's a lot of variables with weather, and certain guys just don't get off the good start. So we're going to take it slow, roll into April, and see how it goes. So it's nice to have a cushion that we do have bet in the preseason now to carry us through April, and then right around May.